moments in life. And even though if it looks like life is magic from time to time, it is still, there's a lot of shortcomings. There's so many shortcomings. And it's so easy to be stressed, and it's so easy to, it needs so little for us to be frustrated. And that's not satisfying. Because I think we can all recognize that sometimes we're stressed and frustrated. There's no reason, but just out of habit, we react like this. Can you, yeah? And it's not satisfying because it's spoiled. We should have joy in life, not magic, but not magical joy, not joy in things that don't exist, but joy in, for example, every being has the capacity to be a good person. Everybody. Or the joy in feeling connected with others also, because when we kind of only think, oh, only me I suffer, only me I want to be happy, then we isolate ourselves like that. So we can join in opening up our hearts and think, everybody wants to be happy. This is exactly the same for everybody, no matter what color skin, no matter rich, poor, old, young, university degrees, no university degrees, no matter where you're born. Even animals have this thing. And it's so nice to unite with that, to open up your heart and to think, wow, this is that one thing that we all have. It's universal. You know, with kids sometimes I make this game to see how different we are. It's like, well, how many of you ate breakfast this morning? So the ones who have stand up, so some stand, then some stay sit. So how many of you, had coffee? How many of you had chocolate? How many? Just to see that even though we think we're all the same in a way, in a superficial way, in another way we're also very different. But there's this one thing where everybody will stand up. When I ask, do you want to suffer? No, nobody stands up. Do you want to be happy? Do you want to be well? Everybody stands up. So to become aware of that fact, and then we have to first start to look after ourselves, so that we can be of benefit to others, so that you can actually do then these wonderful 6 actions here. And that is the Buddhist path. First you start to look after yourself, even though bodhicitta and compassion is much more inspiring and uplifting than to think about our negative karma that we've done until now, do the purification meditation, thinking that we're going to die one day, having to rejoice that we have a good rebirth, even though it's very difficult. They tell me I have to be joyful about this. So it seems like very boring. Or to hear, the first noble truth about suffering, dukkha, again and again and again and again. We say, okay, I know it, I heard it. If we would know it, we wouldn't be here anymore. If we would really know it, like knowing the way when I see fire for the first time, and I think, oh, this is nice, and I want to touch it, and it burns me, I do it once, but never again, because it hurts. So that one we understand. But because our human life, for all of you who are sitting here, even though your situation might be very terrible and very difficult, but still, there's this one thing where you can say, I'm very fortunate, is that you do have some trust in your potential, and you are open enough to listen to methods how to bring up that potential. So in that case, all of us are very, very, very fortunate. Yeah. And for all of us who are sitting here, our life could be much worse than what it is. But sometimes we don't see it like that. And with joy, I mean, come on, everything is so much easier. But then the anger, the aggression, it seems it's emotions that kind of make something. So depression totally blocks you, and you don't even want to go talk to other people anymore. You can't bear anybody. You definitely can't bear happy people. So if you are going to see somebody who is depressed, don't show your joy and your happy face. They get upset. They get jealous, they feel bad about them being so good. And then if the weather cools down, here it's cooling down in Switzerland is when the sun is coming out. Don't tell them they should be happy because it's now cooler. or because in Switzerland because the weather is good. It's not helping. Something is wrong inside. It's too narrow. It's only one person there. Yeah. So maybe just quickly, because it seems like many people suffer from depression. And then you say, okay, I'm depressed, I'm sad, I'm not well. Okay, but may others be happy. You know, try to become a bit less narrow in here, because you can feel these things. You can feel every negative emotion through narrowness, and then the brain doesn't work properly anymore. Maybe one day they will come up with like science will come up with seeing really a connection to this feeling of being very narrow, that it kind of, you know, pushes out adrenaline and other peptides or whatever the things are called, and you can see that it has a connection, that then the thoughts go wild and crazy and totally further and further and further away from reality, from what actually is. Okay? So when you start to see, okay, there is kind of this unsatisfactory existence is natural for me at the moment. Not natural in the sense I can't do anything about it, but because I carry the cause for it with me. When we start to understand this, then we start to look at the causes. First, with the suffering, we don't put so much effort into changing things outside anymore. But we start to develop compassion for ourselves. The compassion you would have for somebody who seems to be poor, but has been given an unlimited Visa card, but has no clue how to use it. Would you have compassion for that person? And no matter how much you explain to that person, they don't get it. That what you have to do is stick it in, but let's say it's only working with them because it has a fingerprint, so in order to make it a bit more real, this whole thing, it's not a code, it's the fingerprint, and you tell this person, all you have to do is stick it in, put your finger there, and the money will come out. They don't get it. This is us. We have this unlimited Visa card. We have the potential to have unlimited happiness, but we don't get it. We don't use it. Sometimes we use it. Yeah. But, you know, whenever you feel, then take out that Visa card. Put it in. Put your fingerprint. Say, yeah, okay, life is difficult. And don't go, oh, but life is nice, it's not so difficult. No, it is difficult. This is what the Buddha says. Life is difficult. As long as we carry along these negative emotions and wrong views with it, then we can, wherever you want to go, you will take your mind with you. You know, if you think that you're only angry in Israel, go to another country. Go up to the mountain where nobody disturbs you. All of a sudden, the birds will disturb you because you want to meditate. And, oh, they start singing at 6 in the morning. Have you noticed it? That it's not only in Israel that you're angry, that sometimes you are out of the country and, oh, strange. Why am I angry here? Have you noticed this?
Yes.
Yeah. Isn't it? Do you ask yourself, why am I angry? I mean, it's like, my government is not my government, country people are not my fellow country people.
It's even more annoying.
Huh?
It's even more annoying because you can't put it.
Yeah, you can't put it outside. This is the practice. What Gidi is saying. You see that, you know, because you start to see, especially when you meditate, you can have wonderful sessions. Your heart is totally open, and you want to do this for the rest of your life. You are not interested in all this stuff anymore, ever, you know. And then maybe the next session is like, when is this going to finish? I want to get out. I want to eat ice cream. I want to see my friends. I want to watch TV. I want to see my phone. And if you're really practicing, instead of just waiting until it's finished, if you're really practicing, you go, how can that be? The place has not changed, my cushion has not changed, the practice has not changed, I'm still doing the same thing. How can that be? Then we start to see that the whole thing is in our own mind, how we see the world, what is happening, and all this. So this becomes then the practice, is to have the tools to watch your mind. And these tools are what? It's offered everywhere. You don't have to call it Buddhism. It's becoming very popular. What is the tool to watch your mind? The word is already there. Come on. Huh? It's called mindfulness. Okay? So you can start to practice mindfulness just because your boss is paying for it. Because that's what bosses do these days. I don't know here in Israel, but in Switzerland. It's like, but they're not going themselves. So the employees felt very angry. So I said, yeah, I would do the same thing. I would tell the boss, if you're not coming, I'm not going. Because the motivation behind there is that they become better workers. That they're more calm, have less conflict, so they can work better and produce better. So, and it will happen. Actually, this is the thing. They will become happier and all this. But then, this wonderful method, you can pair it with something that is maybe a little bit more beneficial than just to be a better worker. And you can pair it, for example, with the motivation, I want to use mindfulness in order to practice ethical conduct, in order to see when a negative emotion comes up, because that's what it's for. That's what it was meant to be for. That we have two mental factors. One is called mindfulness, which is constantly outside, but we teach them, we strengthen that factor to look inside and then to know what is going on. And then we are aware, or we use wisdom to vary with the right methods also, to change something, to transform something. Yeah. Then if you want to develop mindfulness in order to develop love and compassion, then it becomes even more. But the mindfulness in order to be an ethical person, and being an ethical person is not easy. Because you will start feeling guilty and bad about yourself when you're doing negative things. But maybe the good news is that you are guilty anyway, it's just you put it away, because we do know what is ethical and what is non-ethical. Why? Because when things happen to us, which is stealing, lying, taking away partners, killing, what else, gossiping about us, harsh words, jealousy against us, harmful thoughts against us. When it comes this way, how many times do you see this as positive? Huh? Almost never. You can see it as positive, like there's this competition in your workplace, somebody's jealous of you, and you go, and it gives you even more drive because you dislike the person to be good and to accomplish wonderful things. But I would say this is not what we call ethical conduct. This is just buying into your ego again, yeah? But you can use it for that also. Yeah? So this is why I also have to be careful. When I talk about negative emotions, be careful. They can all use to something good if it's not in an excessive way, and if you see the distortion behind it. And you do have like healthy, and I think psychology is trying to do that. These are just energies in the body, and they help you do something. So all you need to do, either the therapist telling you or yourself studying and learning, what do I want to use my anger for example? That very strong energy of anger, or the fear. What do I want to use it for? Yeah. So like that, or the joy. What do I want to use it for? I'm thinking about the movie. How many of you have seen Inside Out, the movie? It's a cartoon. Me also. And I would watch it again and again and again and again. It is such a great movie. It shows you exactly what is going on in our mind. And it's not just Walt Disney who made it, it's also Paul Ekman, who is a very famous psychologist for how emotions work. And he works together with the Dalai Lama. I mean, this is why I know the movie, because he was involved. And then we watched it in the group, and it's really good. And it shows us how to be also more relaxed about our negative emotions as a Buddhist, not as when you don't practice with them. Because as a Buddhist, sometimes we are too, as a spiritual practitioner, maybe not just Buddhism, we are too, how to say, We're too concerned about our negative emotions. We get lost in them. And then we can't bring them up. We can't see them. We don't want to see them. So we start to hide them. We feel ashamed about them and all these kinds of things. But in that movie, it actually shows, every emotion, even if the emotion of aggression can be helpful. But this is for advanced practitioners who already then feel bad about their negative emotions, so that you don't feel too bad. So I'm just trying to explain to you how difficult Buddhism is. How there's not one thing that is just that. Not even negative emotions. Not one thing. And how can you find out? Through practice. You can read as many books as you want. You can know all the 4 schools and all the arguments why things are empty and this and that, and the self-sufficient I or the non-inherently existent I, but they said non-inherent existence is, but no true existence. You can do all these arguments, but if you don't feel it, if you have no experience of your emotions, if you don't have the strength of mind to be able to stay there when they're there, to look at them and to examine them, I'm afraid to say there's not much that will transform. And transformation we want. So when you start to practice in a skillful way, so neither living out these emotions, nor suppressing them is skillful, but taking them up and studying them. And doing these steps, that they talk about. The steps, you start with knowing the Four Noble Truths. My life is not satisfactory. These are the causes. It's because I see things in a distorted way, and that's the most difficult one, because what we see seems to be so true. So incredibly true. That there is a separate me or I in here. Seems to be, a third entity, something more than the body and the mind that I need to satisfy and I need to look after. And seems to be so true. And if I care more about others and I don't always look first me, I will die. Well, then all the parents would die. Because for the parents, very naturally, the children come first. Isn't it? Or no? Yeah. No need to develop anything. What is it? Attitude. This is my child, comes first. Tack. And then it changes. Saftas also, sorry, not only parents. So you see, if we couldn't survive by me first, if we do me first, then very young parents would disappear, would die. We wouldn't have any Saftas and Sobas around, because they would all have disappeared, because they gave up me first. Now what we're doing is this very beautiful mind of being able to say, you first, and then even being happy when the other one goes first, which goes for quite a few limited people in our life, to expand it. And then rebirth, of course, helps, because then we go like, ooh, we all had connections with each other. Another argument that helps is like how dependent we are on others. We're so dependent on others. Actually, in the Tara retreat, I used the garbage people, and apparently I have to change my view. I don't know if it's true. You see, somebody tells me something, and then I believe it. So somebody said, I don't know how it is in the whole of Israel, but in Tel Aviv, people queue up to be garbage people because the pay is so incredibly. It's a total mafia. You need to have good connections in order to get that job. So there you go. Even that horrible job, because in people's mind is, wow, I want this job, because they've been told that it's a good job and it's difficult to get. They queue up for it. This is how you see how the mind influences our emotions, how we want to go. So I have to find the people who kind of fill up the things in the supermarket, so that all you have to do is reach in and take it out. You don't have to go to the storeroom. Have you seen storerooms in supermarkets? The storerooms? Sometimes the doors are open. Imagine you would have to go and find what you need for your daily life in there. They do it for you. So if somebody knows somebody like this, there's also a queue for becoming a person in the supermarket, please let me know, then if I know it. We're totally depending on them. Do you behave like this? That you depend on them? Not really, eh? Do you think you can learn or you can train to behave like this? We can, by seeing how depending we are. So all they would need to do is say, okay, for 2 months, we're not filling up anything anymore. Let them go and find what they need in the store. I think you would appreciate them when they come back. You would even say thank you. You would try to treat them in a nice way. Okay. So that's the first, I like this what we get familiar with. Our life is not as satisfying as it could be, and not due to outer conditions, but due to inner conditions. Not knowing my mind, not knowing what brings happiness. Like, you know, when I talk about happiness, no, not this one. You can use all kinds of words that appeal to you. For me, freedom. The freedom to have choices. Do I want to say this word now? Do I not want to say that kind of freedom I would like? Do I want to be open now and I want to go, this kind of freedom. This is what I'm talking about. So that for me would translate into happiness. Space, freedom, peace. You know, in every situation, act as if you are in total control, but not control like this, but no fear. Just, you know, knowing what to do. These kind of things. Freedom from confusion. I mean, it's no wonder we're so confused, because we have this, I'm pointing to here, I don't know if it really sits here. We have this wish to be happy. I think that's why you're here also. All of you have the wish to be generous, to be ethical, to be patient, to be enthusiastic, to be concentrated, and to be wise. Do you not have this wish, or do you have it? Some people not so sure. So if you have it, try to bring it up and try to see it, and if you have it, then we have this wish, but then we act in a different way. So that, of course we want to be generous, and then no, we're not. There is an occasion to give, we don't. We want to be ethical, and then we put zero effort into being ethical. I'm talking we, okay? So if you feel that you're not like this, I'm very happy, really. If you think that you made it and you're totally ethical, it's like, I'm the happiest person in the world, because I love ethical people, because they don't harm, okay? But I'm talking to those like me who are not quite there yet, okay? So there's an occasion to be ethical. It needs a bit of effort maybe to be ethical, and it costs maybe something, but maybe it costs only, you know, 5.9 shekel, the bus. Okay? So maybe we can make the effort of paying for it every time, really, you know, starting small like this. This is how we start. And then if we have the occasion to be patient, what do? We start complaining, we run away. Again, I'm talking we. So if you see this, so, you know, really difficult neighbor, parties until 3 o'clock in the morning, smoke, and drugs, and violence, scream at each other, and this and that. So we say, wow, how fortunate I am that he moved in. I have patients right here, right at my doorstep. Very, very highly developed people would think like this. People who have already developed a certain degree of patience, but see, they know I need more, this is not good enough. Yeah, then they would be happy about this. Us, no. Us, we would either ask, please, could you, yeah, and then if they don't, what would we do? Move away. Yeah.
Call the police.
I call the police, they come. I was told in Israel they don't come for such things. It's not important. It needs to be first shooting. But anyway, so yeah, you can try to call, but then when they don't come, you get double angry. So better move away. You know, it's not being cowardly. If you cannot deal with the situation, it is not being a coward to move away. It is skillful. Okay? We can also wait and hope and wish and wait and hope and wish for them to change. Very, very little chance, very often. Unless you're very kind to them. Because that is something also that seems to, but not with wanting to manipulate them, okay? But just to see because they suffer or something like that. So you can be very kind and not aggressive, and actually offering your help when they need help washing up the glasses the next morning, cleaning up the apartment, something like that. They would think that here in Israel, I don't think it would be wise to do that. They would think that you're cynical, you want to kind of maybe steal something in their apartment, or they think you're seriously weird. Other countries, they might feel the kindness that you see. Oh, they have to go to work, I'm off, but they have to clean up the house after the party, so I offer to clean it up. It can be smaller things, offering to empty their letterbox when they're on holiday, or things like that, watering their plants, things like that. And slowly something will change. I've seen it happening with our neighbors in Switzerland. Not that they had parties, but they were very aggressive and very unhappy to have a Buddhist center next to them. We don't have big problems. This is why we make big problems out of small problems. The Swiss people. Yeah, but then the problem is a problem. You think it's funny, for them it's not funny, because for them it's a problem. So there you go. It's all, you see, again, it's all in the mind. But out of the four around us, 3 are okay. I only have one, but this one refuses to communicate. So I leave him alone. I don't even try anymore. I just leave him alone. But also he's not saying anything anymore. With the others we're friendly, we're talking and blah 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 and all that. So this is what I mean. But like, if you want to practice this, like the first thing would be, oh no, but then the second would be, okay, wow, let's see how far I am with my practice of patience. And we come to what these things are. We go into them, hopefully, maybe this weekend, what the 6 perfections are and how to do it. The thing is, I don't want to start with them because you need to know what comes first. This is why. So you're not kind of jumping into them and then you break your neck. I don't want that either. Yeah. So, but when we listen to the Four Noble Truths, because there's 2 more. So the first 2 they're important, but then the next 2 are just as important. And it's possible to live without these negative emotions. That's the big thing. And then we need this trust. This trust, I don't know, I can see people who seem not to have these negative emotions, but how do I know? They can put on an act. But then to have this kind of trust, it could be possible. Or, sorry, all night. Same example, same trust, you go to the doctor, you feel something is wrong, he gives you some medicine, you swallow it. You don't know whether it's going to work, but there's a need for it. This is it. So this is why we need to understand the first noble truth first, before you start to work with this third one, that I have this potential. I feel it. You can feel this potential. The wish for happiness. The wish to be free from these negative emotions. Yeah. At least the ones who are sitting here. I know there might be people out there who can't feel it and who don't want to feel it and who say, I need my anger. Fine. But I'm talking not to them, I'm talking to you now. Okay? And then to see that the situation I'm in is not satisfactory, so that we're making the effort to get out of it and not to move to another place, but through that. So then to have this, let me see, let me try. If I'm in the fourth noble truth, there's very, very structured ways, very structured, very precise instructions what to do, yeah? And then to see that curiosity, that kind of faith, I want to try this out. And then you start to practice this, to do it, to give when you can give, to not to harm back, and not to complain all the time when you need patience, and so on and so forth, and so on. And then you will have the right questions. You see, if the teachings are only up in your head, you have millions of questions, but they're not the right ones because you've never experienced it. You haven't practiced it. At the beginning, some of the beginners, they come one question after the other. They don't even listen anymore to what I'm saying, because the answers will come on the way also. See, if Buddhism could be answered in one weekend, you can get all the answers. Everybody would be a Buddhist. And if an answer would solve your problem so that you can practice, same thing. It's like, it would be very easy. Many people would be Buddhist. But the good thing is you don't have to become a Buddhist in order to practice these things. That is the good thing. But you have to use it, and you have to do it. And coming back to Viktor Frankl, he says between stimulus and reaction there's a little gap.